Welcome to the Collective Genius Podcast, the show for real estate investors who are looking to scale.
Welcome back into the live Collective Genius Podcast. I'm Leon Barnes. We are here in Sarasota, Florida. This is our CG Select and Elevate event. We've got Elevate, about 80 members on floor 5 here at the hotel. Then we've got 200 plus members upstairs on floor 6. Breakout day. We talked about gold standards yesterday, main stage presentations on gold standards on acquisitions and lead management and all things real estate. And one of those gold standard presentations yesterday was from Mr. Dan Francis, my next guest. It was on Dispo. We'll get to that in a minute, but let's introduce Dan, a longtime member of CG Select, here for the very first time on the CG Select podcast. Welcome in.
Honor to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. The Quad Cities, great area, not only to raise a family, but to invest in. I remember when we first started talking 4 or 5 years ago now, I was like, man, we don't have anyone in the Quad. I'd love to have a member in that particular area. And I've watched your business. You've had some trials and tribulations, but I've watched it continue to grow. What is it that you do in the Quad Cities, the type of niche that you do for real estate investing, and what does the business look like today?
Yeah, so again, Dan Francis, we're in eastern Iowa, Davenport, Bettendorf, and then western Illinois, Rock Island, Moline area. My focus is serving the seller. We do a lot of different things to help a seller, which falls from anywhere from wholesaling to taking it down, to assigning, to installments or novations, some subject to action, and it's really figuring out the needs of a seller there and what we can do to serve.
I remember when you first joined this group, you guys were so humble coming into the room, and you had a really good business, and obviously you've grown it since then. But I remember I don't think you guys called it the CG slap, but at the time we started to define it as a CG slap, where you both were like, my goodness, we've got so much to learn. What was it out of the gates? Let's talk about like that first couple of meetings. What was it that you felt like you had so much to learn from this group on?
I realized that I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know that there were so many people doing such great things in this profession. And man, I got CG slapped so many times. I feel like I'm like Tina Turner. Hopefully I can say that here, but
wow, you just did.
True. Yeah, I didn't know that there were people at this level. I mean, it was just I did know that in chiropractic, and I suppose I was one of them, and I felt like we needed to translate that sort of volumetric business.
Well, let's get into that. You just kind of gave me something there that I can't leave unturned. You were a former chiropractor. How does a chiropractor get into real estate?
Well, I guess first and foremost, I was more a business person than a chiropractor. We focused from day one in school was connecting with people that were great at chiropractic, and how to be great at chiropractic is to be good at selling chiropractic and educating. So my focus in school, I wasn't to be in class. It was to be educating myself on how I could teach the masses and educate them on the importance of that type of thing. Gotcha.
And so you get to a certain point in your chiropractic practice as a business owner that real estate somehow entered. How did that come to be?
In chiropractic school, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
The cliche of the book.
I know. We sold our business, and that was for family reasons. I'm an Iowa guy. My wife's father was struggling with his health in Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, and our practice was out in Denver, Colorado.
Oh, wow.
So, and we just had a baby, and I didn't want to be in a chiropractic office from 8 in the morning until 8 o'clock at night every day.
Sure.
I didn't have a dad. I know what that feels like, and that was a big priority for us. So really, I just started reading books and kind of self-taught up to the point where I met CG and fell in love with CG. And from there, it's been a slow progression because I do have a struggle with asking for help. I didn't get to do that a lot when I was a kid. I'm fortunate for what I've turned into because of that, but at the same time, I probably would have grown a lot faster if I had raised my hand more and talked to people that.
Well, the good news is you've been able to do that here to the point where you're now presenting on stage for Gold Standards, right? We obviously asked you to do that for a reason. Your gold standard that you presented on yesterday was on dispositions, and specifically you getting out of that position and hiring someone. So let's start with, when did you know, like, okay, in order for me to continue to grow, this is a position of need. You did over 100 transactions in 25. Like, I've got to get out of this role if I'm going to truly grow this as a founder and an operator.
Yeah. So prior to 2025, I was mostly an acquisition person for a construction company. Is how we kind of operated. We were more so focused on fixing and flipping and the construction side of things. Once things turned and resources fell off the table, I suppose that was time for me to say, hey, we need to get into the sales. I feel that sales solves everything. So once I knew that I was going to go head in on acquisitions, I knew that I wouldn't be able to do that without having a dispositions person.
I got you.
And that's when I hired a couple wholesalers in the local market that really, I suppose, looked up to us. And now we have that one that's with us and hopefully will be with us for a long time.
In that particular position, what were you looking for? You presented yesterday on, the right company culture fit. You needed someone to come in that, was going to fit with the team that you have currently and what you wanted for that role. Like, what were you looking for specifically?
Yeah, I was looking for somebody who was going to go after it first and foremost, somebody that proved to me that they were willing to do whatever it took, much like I am, and I try to lead by example. Somebody that had some familiarity with the business, as well as I didn't have that much time to train on numbers and so forth, but so he did have a really good understanding of what investors are looking for, how to run the numbers for those types of things. So that was a big benefit for me, and most importantly, he's about winning and he's about serving and about getting better every day.
Right, if it's your culture is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Were there any relationships or presentations that over the last 4 years here at CG that helped you in this process?
Yeah, the first thing I thought of when I hired a dispositions person was the 75 hard presentation with Ren Bartlett. That's a guy that I idolized from afar, him and Eric. So that was what I referenced to, and also speaking with other people that have hired dispo in the past as well. So that was, I guess, my biggest thing was 75 hard. I need to get into some Chad Young stuff too. I know he's got some great stuff. So
yeah, Chad, one of those members that promoted to Premier, but has continued to. I think he has a couple training calls that he's done for all levels on the dispo side. CJ Moss the same way. You had on that presentation the schedule of this individual and how to make them successful. Did you walk our audience through that?
Yeah, he's in the office for half a day, and that's where he's prospecting. He's building pro formas. He's analyzing deals. He's making phone calls. He's identifying new buyers that he can reach out to, and later in the day, and we do a lot of training and role playing with our sales meetings. We integrate that. Thanks to a lot of the sales education I've received from our Ramp REI. So he's in the office for half the day, and that's really, he's not allowing for people to come look at properties during that time. If they want to latch onto a $30,000 or $40,000 deal, that's Iowa here, by the way, so that's pretty good for us. They're going to make that happen. He doesn't need to jeopardize, his ability to create competition for these properties. And during the second half of the day, he's out and about. He's showing properties. He's reaching goals of getting 3 offers per property that he's dispoing at each time. He's very educated on what investors are looking for in the market, as well as understanding the ins and outs of the properties that we're selling as well.
For those that are listening to this that do a combination of wholesale, hotel, fix and flip, fix and hold, if they're looking to add wholesale is a higher level, maybe this year, higher percentage of their business this year. when building that buyer's list, especially for this new position, is there one particular type of buyer that you feel is the most important to add as a new buyer to your buyer's list? I know that's kind of, there might be multiple. So if there's multiple, feel free to, give more than one.
Yeah, somebody that you're confident in performing, I guess, would be the number one. They're a cash buyer that actually buys cash. They're able to walk you through the deals that they performed, and rather, we focus on asking them the right questions to be able to filter these people, because just like sellers, buyers are often liars as well. So we do concentrate on some important questions to ask so they can really reveal what kind of buyer they are. Cash buyers that have performed deals within the last, preferably month, but depending on their goals, you could go 3 to 6 months, and somebody that we know, like, and trust. And we're here to help the seller. And if that buyer isn't going to be a good fit to help that seller, then we don't really want to mess around.
Is there one avatar specifically that you have found that is more of a performer? Is it, maybe a handyman that wants to flip this house on their own or turn it into a rental? Is it someone that's a landlord that wants more rentals? Is there a specific avatar that you look for?
Yeah, rental property. You said it. Our best buyers are people that buy and hold. They're looking for exploring that capital, or maybe a better term of putting that capital to work for them to have that passive income. And yes, rental buyers, construction crews, or leaders that they're looking to keep people busy, people that do the work themselves, passive investors, things like that. Absolutely.
Are there any type of resources that you've given this dispo manager outside of the normal training that you talked about, sales training, role play, and that? Is there software or anything that you've helped them to build this buyer's list with accurate buyers?
Yes. So Investor Base is a very big tool for us. We have expanded out beyond our previous comfort zone, I suppose, in servanthood. Investor Base, already simply using our CRM. Another thing is the MLS. So we do a lot of research on the MLS.
Okay.
We are able to identify the top performing realtors that are helping these types of buyers.
Love that. Great advice.
We are looking these people up, skip tracing them, going to the assessor page, going to the Secretary of State, seeing who these actual people are. Okay. And skip tracing and contacting them.
When you said going outside, you mean like with Investor Base, you're able to buy some houses outside of your normal Quad Cities area?
Yeah, I don't buy them a lot, but yeah, we can help those types of sellers find a more appropriate, typically local buyer.
Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Love that. What about this year? That dispo presentation, I know somebody in that room, it will be what they're most excited for in 26 is applying some of your strategies. For you, you almost doubled your output from 24 to 25. What are you most excited for 2026 for your business?
Growing and leading and multiplying myself. I had a health incident here at the end of the year after doing all this for a year, and I did it out of necessity. I felt like I needed to grow as a person, as an operator, and for somebody to take my advice, they would likely need to see that I could do it myself, and that's what I was all about this year. My focus for this next year is the growth, the scaling, the being able to multiply, consistently train. I'm still heavily involved, so I've really struggled with that consistency of bringing something new and really being rehearsed in what I want to train about, and keeping up with reading books that we do together as a team. I just want to be a better leader.
I paused it for a second, because if I think about the impact that the Collective Genius has had since, I've been associated for 11 years, if the things that I'm most proud of in this role are the presentations that you see from the Ryan Berries, the Jeremiah Daltons, the Dustin Singers. It's the way that the group has impacted humans, business leaders that want to become truly that, a business leader and the best version of themselves. I encourage you as you make this you're part of what you're most excited for in 26 is go back and watch that Dustin Singer presentation from our last meeting. Same thing with Ryan Berry's presentation and Jeremiah. These are all select members. Ironically enough, they've all promoted to Premier. They all saw a presentation about another person's transition to the best version of themselves. A lot of that was health, which made them more available and made them put it into a different gear of leadership in regards to what they wanted their life to be. Like they were just going through the motions. If you go back and watch those presentations, you'll hear a lot of people say, I was just going through the motions. And then I saw Ryan Berry's presentation, or I saw Jeremiah Dalton's presentation, and it put me into a different gear health-wise. They lost a lot of weight, their body fat, all that stuff, and they're just living healthier lives, which makes them ultimately have more energy to be better leaders in their business, but also with their family as well. So if there's anything that I think is a great byproduct of all the business talk is that people realize, oh my gosh, I've got to be a better leader, which means both. I've got to make sure that I'm taking care of myself and being a natural leader, leading the way through both business and personal. And that's something that I can tell that's, I didn't get to see the end of your presentation because we were doing this podcast, but I can tell that's something that's important to you. And I'm excited for you and happy that you're excited about that here in 2026.
Yeah, I got that you called me fat there, I guess. No. Still wearing the same
What a
pants
great
I wore in
way
high
to
school.
end. I had this emotional moment of telling everyone how much I love the passion that people come into this room with and say, I'm going to be the best leader that I possibly can. And what you take from that is, he just called me fat. What a great way to end this. Dan, thank you so much for being on the podcast, my friend, and the value that you gave in that room yesterday and the years that you've been here. You've always been somebody that's willing to help others and also willing to ask for help when needed. And to me, that's the true sign of a leader, is understanding coming into these rooms, I don't know what I don't know, and if I seek it, it can be found in this room at meetings and in between meetings as well. So thank you. Good luck this year. And I did not officially call you fat.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Hope this helps someone.
Yes, me too. Me too. And obviously, if you love, these type of stories from our members for the live podcast that we've done here at our CG Select and Elevate event, and you want to find out more about how getting into this room with members like Dan and watching these gold standard presentations that we have featured on this pod, I encourage you to go check out that website that we've talked about now here on the pod for the last few years, on the live ones especially, explorecg.com. There you'll find all the information that you need outside of the conversation that we had here today, the application. Go there, fill that out. If we're a good fit for you, we'd love to have that conversation and get you in one of these rooms, whether that's CEO, Premier, Select, Elevate. If you're a full-time real estate investor that's serious about becoming a better leader and growing in general, then we have a room for you, whether it's one of those 4 tiers. We'd love to have that conversation with you. This has been a great podcast day in another great episode. For our live event, that is it. Remember, every Tuesday and every Friday, we download or we drop new CG podcasts with members like Dan that have been with us for a long time, dropping knowledge and giving tons of value. You can always check out all of those episodes. Go back and watch all of those at thecgpodcast.com. We would encourage you to like, subscribe, and do all those things that tell as many people as you possibly can, especially those that are real estate investors. We absolutely love when we hear the stories of new people watching and listening to those podcasts and getting value from it. So much encourage you to do that. explorecg.com is where you can find out more information about membership. And that is going to be it for the live CG podcast. This is always a pleasure. Live here in Sarasota. Our next live CG podcast will be at our CG Premier and CEO event. That event is in March. It is in Dallas, and we look forward to seeing you there. For now, that is the final live CG podcast here from Sarasota, Florida.